I was playing 136 with a 1K max buy at Portland Meadows. I had about 1,700 in my stack, and I was under the gun, and the nit game was on, but it was early in the nit game. And the nit game is where everybody gets a red button that says nit, and the way you lose that button is to win a hand. And the last player who hasn't won a hand has to pay $150 into a splash pot for everybody to compete for. So it's a $150 penalty if you're the last player to win a hand. Some people way overemphasize getting rid of their nit button, and that's the value of the nit game, basically. It also creates a lot of aggression, a lot of action. I have a lot of fun playing it. It's good for the game, and it explains my first action in the hand, which is me with 1,700. I have ace of diamonds, king of clubs under the gun, and I limp. And this hand is just like even 1,700 deep against most players in the game with the nit game on. Sizing is going to be bigger and stuff. This is just good enough to get it all in with. Like if we can find a way to do it,
you can get 300 blinds in comfortably with this hand.
Yeah, I'm going to lose sometimes, but it's like it's definitely plus to do that. It's a good idea. I'm at least trying to get the limp raise in. You know, I would love to get a nice big limp raise in with this hand instead of just opening to whatever I open to under the gun between 25 or 40 or whatever, depending on what the game's playing like, and just getting 6 callers. You know, I'd rather have I'm fine with everybody limping and just I have a sneaky hand too. You know, I'd rather somebody raises, but it's not such a bad thing.
Okay.
There's 4 limps. The main antagonist in the hand is going to be the big blind, who has 1,500 in his stack. I don't think you know this player, Jonathan. He's relatively new to the game. He's been playing a lot. He always buys in for 500 in the 136 1K max buy and the 5.5 1,500 max buy. He's just buying in for 500 every time and trying to spin it up. He's very interested in getting rid of his nit button. He has been in the past, and buying in for 500 helps that. It's easier to jam when you have 500 than a lot. But he's obviously tripled up at this point. He's got 1,500, so he's in territory where he's not going to be as comfortable, which is kind of nice. He's a thinking player. He's one of these guys who Negreanu's it a little bit. Like, he explains his thought process while he's making decisions on the river. And through that, I've learned how he thinks, and I think it's like, you know, he's got reasonable thoughts. So he's not giving it away. He's not a fish, but he's maybe a little bit too interested in getting rid of his nit button. The flop is just straight manna from heaven. It's queen. It's queen of diamonds, jack of diamonds, 10 of clubs.
How do they do it? How do you even do it, Grant?
I have ace king with the ace of diamonds. It's a limp pot. Nobody's going to put me on this hand. It's amazing.
Okay.
So there were 4 limps in the blinds, so there's, like 50 in the pot, something like that. I bet 30 after everybody checks.
Do we have a diamond in our hand, Grant?
Ace of diamonds. I said multiple.
I'm just checking in for myself in the audience, Grant. Okay.
Well, Chris should have put the graphic
up. Don't need to get
up.
snippy with me. You don't have, you can have grace.
Sometimes, but my kid woke up a bunch last night, so not today.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So the only caller is the big blind that I just described.
Okay.
So queen, jack, 10. This is obviously a dynamic board. What is the range we're putting this player on here?
Oh my God, it feels like there's so much. A lot of pair and straight draws for sure.
Yeah.
Not that many 2-pair combos, I would think, in that they'd probably bet them themselves a lot.
Or check raise when given the opportunity.
They might even be looking to raise, exactly. So I think a lot of like king 10 type hands, maybe even like not, queen 9, stuff like that. I think those are very reasonable
diamonds.
Hands. We could see them.
2 diamonds.
Oh, diamonds for sure. Good point. Yeah. We had the ace of diamonds, so we cut down on some of the more obvious stuff, but he was in the big blind.
Yeah, he checked.
The thing is, because he was in the big blind, he's a little less apt to be suited than everybody else in the hand, right? Because he doesn't get to choose his hand.
But once he calls,
he can still have them.
Once he calls,
diamonds are still there. Diamonds are still there for sure.
He could just
just be a top pair
king.
Type hand.
It could just be a king, right? That's an
that's
open
true.
ender. Yeah.
Of course it could. Yep. So the draws are there, and because he was closing the action with you, he might be a little bit weaker than someone else who called where there's people behind them still, right?
Yeah.
So he might be able to call with middle pair here and even bottom pair a little bit because there are a lot of draws on this board.
It does look like I have a reasonably good hand when I bet into 6 opponents from early position, right?
Agreed. But the pot is small, so it's a little bit less of a thing than if it's been raised or 3-bet and there's a bunch of people and now you're betting, right? Where it's a much bigger risk. But sure.
But I'm probably not betting like 10-9 or hands like that.
Right. Of course, I agree. You're not.
Yeah. Anyway, he calls. So now there's like
Okay.
110 in the pot.
Cool.
The turn is the 8 of diamonds. It's not my favorite. I was really kind of
No.
hoping for no diamond. At least I have the ace of diamonds, which is nice.
The good news is it's an 8. The bad news is it's a diamond, right?
Right, 'cause a
Meaning
9
if he
makes a
had a
straight.
9 somehow, he may feel a little stuck to the pot for longer. But the diamond is not great. It's nice to have the ace of diamonds in our hand because, you did mention that several times and we all remember that.
Of course.
Yeah. But easy to remember that, obviously. It's on the screen. I mean, come on. And but yeah, that 8, I guess, in some ways is a good news, bad news card. In that 8, it's good if he has a 9. But if he has like any kind of other made hand, like the hand's essentially over, right? It's going to be really hard to get any value out of this from him. I guess we also, if we're losing right now, we now have outs to beat him because we have the ace of diamonds, which is nice too.
It isn't. I mean, the ace of diamonds is a big deal here for sure.
Yeah.
He just goes ahead and leads for pot, 110.
Okay, we're obviously never folding. There's nothing to think about. It's just an easy call.
Yeah.
Right.
So I call.
There's nothing else to do. Yeah.
So the pot is now 330.
Okay.
The river is the 9 of clubs. So
Wow,
it's
straight on
queen
the
of
floor.
diamonds, jack of diamonds, 10 of spades, 8 of diamonds, 9 of clubs.
Cool.
I wish it was a diamond, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right. He started the hand with 1,500. He has like 1,300-ish left, 1,350, something like that.
Yeah.
He bets 225.
225 into what is now like 300-ish, a little more?
330.
A little more. 330.
So what are you thinking about here?
Okay. First thought is, I think we actually beat a fair amount of his value range right here.
We do
as
beat
he's
some of
bet.
it. Yeah.
Like a value range is pretty much just a king, right? There's nothing else.
It's just a
that's
king.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides the diamonds.
So there's
of course.
Oh, no. Value range that we beat is
Yeah.
just a king. Yeah, so of course you're right. He can have 2 diamonds. He might bet bigger with 2 diamonds a fair amount of the time. He might, because, you might feel like we're chopping a lot or something. I don't know. Or he might be trying to trap you with the king if he bets. He might bet bigger. I don't know if that's true. I don't know
He
if this
bet
guy.
pot on the turn, so it's
That's true.
And 225 and a 330 is not exactly small.
It's not small, but it's not humongous either. But you're right, it's not small. I mean, my first inclination, I understand we have the ace of diamonds here, which is both good as a blocker to like call with and also good as a blocker to raise with.
Mm-hmm.
My inclination is not to turn our hand into a bluff and get all fancy and try and get him to fold the flush here, which is all we'd be doing if we raise with the ace of diamonds, is trying to get him to fold the flush. A guy who wants to win the nit game is probably not folding a flush that often, especially on this board. So my inclination is just to sit back, call, and win a lot. I think we win more often than we lose, probably. I think it's an easy plus EV play to call here. I'm not sure if moving in is really going to accomplish much because we're probably going to successfully fold out a king a lot of the time. Maybe, unless we think he's somehow going to call us with a king, but we block that. And I'd be very worried that he's not going to call us with the king when the 3rd diamond has come on the turn and we call the pot size bet.
No, I wouldn't expect him to call us with the king.
So I just want to call and do nothing else with this. Did you have other thoughts about raising?
I did.
Because for value or for bluffing?
Bluffing.
Must be for bluffing.
Yeah, for bluffing.
Okay.
I felt like he had diamonds a fair amount of the time as played. I mean, obviously a king is possible, but he did lead the turn, right? When the 3rd diamond came for pot. And remember the player profile, he's interested in winning the nit game, but he's also buying in for 500 and is up to 1,500. It's like, deep water for him, right? So I was aware of that. And I kind of thought that he might fold everything if I shove. Like, it's
Really?
like, because he can't have the nuts, he might call with the king high flush, but he checked out of the big blind. So he has all of the flush combos, right? And I figured he was going to fold most of them.
Wow. You really think you're going to get guys to fold a flush, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I moved in. So
I understand.
It's a
I
large.
understand that's what you're saying.
It's a large raise. It's, he bet 225.
I mean, I guess, look, if you think that's going to work almost all the time, I guess it's fine. It's a fine play. It shouldn't work almost all the time. It should not work very often. if he has a flush. Like you shouldn't be able to get value from good players that way, right? Because they should either be they should be betting with the intention of calling. They should know that you can turn the ace of diamonds into a bluff, and they should also know that in their distribution, this hand is just way too high up to ever fold.
I mean, but think back through the hand. I limped under the gun, right? How do I have the ace of diamonds in your mind usually?
Yeah, it's hard for you to have the limp there. That's true. It's going to be suited most of the time when you limp.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I called the turn bet, which was a pot size bet. I bet into 6 players on the flop.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
the
are my
only
bluffs?
thing I mean, the thing I would be
besides the ace of
worried about,
diamonds?
the thing I could talk myself into for a reason why a bluff might not work is there's a straight on the board, and he might think we're just trying to get him off a chop.
I mean, he knows
our
that
point of
I'm.
view.
He knows
From
that
our point of
I'm smart enough to know that there's also 3 diamonds on the board. It's not usually the spot where people are moving in with a straight on the board when there's also 3 diamonds or 3 clubs or whatever on the board.
Yeah. I would be. I can't speak to his situation. It seems to me like if we're folding flushes here, we're just folding way too much of the time, and we are just easy pickings, right? So, from an optimal point of view, it seems absurd to fold a flush. But I understand you're not playing a computer.
No,
you're right. You're playing a human, and you're trying to play well against a human.
Yeah.
So if we think this guy, as I said, if we think this guy's going to fold almost everything, almost all his flushes, then it's almost like a just in case play. It's a very expensive just in case play, but it may be the difference between, winning 70% of the time anyway and winning 95% of the time or something. That extra 25%, I don't know if it's worth the extra $1,000, but maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Do you really think I'm winning 70% of the time when he takes this line?
I have no idea. I don't know who this player is. I have very little information on him.
Okay, but assuming he's like a thinking player who knows at least he's got at least a reasonable thought process.
I would guess we're winning a lot. Maybe 75, maybe 70% is too much. Maybe it's 55% of the time. Maybe it's 60%. I would guess we're winning a lot with this hand. We're having the ace of diamonds where we block the diamond and the best diamond to block. And
But
having
he's in the big blind, he checked. Right?
Yeah.
So that means that he has all of the other diamonds, obviously.
No, I understand that, but but do we know for sure he isn't just betting a king here?
We don't know that for sure,
really
but I
don't
mean,
think he's
like,
gonna
we're not
bet a
getting
king?
any more money than 225 out of a king anyway, obviously. It's the real question is if he's going to call with all of his flushes or some of his flushes or what.
Right. Yes, that is correct. That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We get the same amount of money out of a king no matter what we do.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. So it's really just like against the part of his range which is flushes, can we get them to fold?
To be clear,
So if you believe that, then fair enough.
clear,
If you think you can get
to be clear, I wasn't like slam dunk. This is the best play in the world. That wasn't what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I thought about this kind of for a while and figured like I just feel like I'm beat too much of the time to call is how it felt to me with the check out of the big blind.
Yeah.
He's got a flush a lot of the time. He played it like a scared flush sort of on the turn. Like he's betting pot to deny equity to whatever he thinks he needs to deny equity to is what it feels like. And then he gets the clean river card, which sometimes is going to elicit a call out of me for like a chop or maybe I have a king, and that's great for him. So he tries to go for value there. It just feels like a flush a lot of the time to me.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm going to go back to my statement of like I think we win a lot here. I think we win a lot because I think he's betting a king a lot, and I think I could see someone playing a king like this. Although actually the turn is a weird one. I guess if we had a lone king, we might bet the turn to try and get you to fold out a bunch of stuff because that's such a scary card, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh my God, we actually got there, and I'm betting now because I've got the better than the board, and it is a strong hand, and we'll deal with everything else that comes later.
Yeah.
I understand though from your point of view, it doesn't matter if he has a king or not ultimately because we win either way with the king, right? We can't lose against a king, so who cares? But my point of like we win a lot, I think just by calling, I think is probably true without knowing who this player is. Really beyond what he said.
We win a fair amount of the time by calling. Obviously, we can never know, but it really comes down to like if he's gonna fold pretty much everything except for like the second nut flush plus, then it's good to move in. It's got to be right. But if he's going to call with all of his flushes,
Yeah.
then it's a very
Then
bad
it's
move.
terrible. Well, then moving it is the worst thing ever,
Yeah.
right? If he's going to call with all flushes.
Yeah.
I feel like in general, trying to get players to fold strong hands is mostly a bad idea. Like attacking that part of their range is mostly a bad idea. So I mostly personally try not to do it. And it's got to be a very particular player. Now, this $500 buy-in thing, maybe like you're saying, it's deep waters for him. Maybe this is the spot. I don't think I would have found this play. I don't know what happens yet, but I don't think I would have found it because I'd be like, I think I win enough that I don't need to do this. I think I make money just by calling.
I mean, that's totally reasonable. Totally reasonable way to think about it. I felt beat, and I felt like he was going to fold if I shoved because of the guy that he is with the $500 buy-ins, and I've seen him be capable of folding and have these tough decisions where he ends up folding. Like he thinks it through.
Okay.
He knows he's not beating any value with the 8 high flush here, right? He's aware of that.
When you move in, for sure. Sure.
And I think it's just going to work all the time when he's 1,500 deep. I just think there's even a chance that he folds the second nut flush. There's a chance. I really think that.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it.
The truth is the second nut flush plays better as a bluff catcher, but when you move in, it's the same. It's losing to the same range that everything else is. It's going to perform the same. He may feel like inclined to call with it because you got to call with something.
Yeah.
I don't know if he even thinks that, but maybe your point is maybe he doesn't even think that way, right? So
I don't really know if he thinks that way.
I mean, if he's folding 100% of his range here, of course we should move in. Like I agree with you, right?
Yeah.
It all comes down to can we get this guy to fold the flush when he has it. My inclination is mostly not to try, but okay. So you moved in.
Yeah, I tried, and he said, "Oh, I have the king of diamonds," and then he folded. So he had the king with the king of diamonds.
So he felt comfortable betting for value there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we just don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if it would have worked or not.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting spot, and I think it's most people are going to do what you do and call there. I'm not saying it's right to do what I did necessarily, but I do think it's worth exploring. That it might be against certain players. Maybe it's spew to call there a little bit. Like obviously in this case, it looks like would have just called in one, like you thought. So that's good, but. So he's capable of having just a king and doing it. I don't know if he would do it without the king of diamonds. It might need to be.
I mean, the king of diamonds is the perfect card to take this line with, right?
Yeah.
Where you bet the turn specifically, where you still have draws, but you block the flush draw, and it's so hard for you to call with your like 2 pair here, and he can bomb a lot of rivers if he wants to, and then he actually gets there. He's like, oh my god, this is great, and maybe Grant will call now. Even as a chop, I can get a call sometimes, right? Which is what he's thinking, right? Because that's why else would he bet unless he's trying to get called by chops.
By a chop.
What you would see as a chop, not an actual chop, because there's a straight on the board.
Yeah.
So I will like to give myself a little credit for giving him that thought process along the way. But we don't really know what he'd do with the flush, which is the real interesting question.
It's too bad that we don't know, because I would like to know. I mean,
I know you could ask him, but you won't. He maybe doesn't know, or maybe you won't get a straight answer anyway. Unless he's like, I definitely would have folded. Even that you don't know for sure if that's a straight answer.
This was like walking on a cliff edge a little bit, because this was a player dependent play, but I didn't have all the data. But you don't have all the data until you have all the data, right? You're just in the spot when you do your best.
That is for sure. For sure. Okay, let me ask one other question here before we wrap up. Is there a different size we could choose that would be as effective, or do we really have to go all in against the player who you're thinking is in deep water specifically, right? Like, could we make it? You moved in for effectively like 1,300 or something?
Yeah, it's possible I could make it 1,000 and get the same results.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. But if you're not sure,
I'm not sure.
Could we make it 1,150 and get the same result?
I mean, it's also like I do know that he just brings 1,500 a day. So that makes a little bit of a difference too.
Right. So you have to go home play.
Yeah.
Although no, but he's run up this 1,500.
Yeah.
Right,
this is his first buy-in, but it also like it's not like he's like, I'll just buy in until I feel like I should leave. He has a stop loss, right? So it might change his thought process a little bit for the $300 difference.
Got it. Interesting. But the fact that like if this was his last bullet and it was still early in the day, I'd be more inclined to make this play if I were you.
Fair.
Also, Although some people are going to be like, I've been running bad, whatever. Let's just get this day over with if it's over and call more of the time too. So it all depends on the person.
I mean, I think people who are up, who are not like always playing the game and up all the time and used to it, are really good people to bluff on the river, typically.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. They hate giving away all that profit.
And I know it's a weird thing because I had the nut straight, so it's super weird. This is why I brought it to Table Talk because you
had the nut straight and you blocked like some key stuff there with the ace of diamonds on top of it. Yeah, it's
which is why I made. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have made this play without the ace of diamonds. Clearly.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this: if instead of him betting 2/3 pot, if he bets a little under half pot, what do you?
I think it's more of a call. I think it's more of a call then. I mean, the math changes, and I think his range changes a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think his range certainly changes when he bets a little under half pot. He might even be just going for. He might just be playing the board sometimes and be looking for folds.
To get rid of his nip button.
The one thing I will say is, what'd you say?
To get rid of his nip button.
Yeah, that's right. To get rid of the nip button. It's interesting though. Oh, so if it's a chop, do you get rid of the nip button?
No, you keep it.
Okay,
everybody keeps it.
So that's a key point of this too, because like I was going to say, because if you get rid of the nip button on a chop, then like a raise is interesting. There, like he may feel a little more obliged to call when he bets like 40% a pot on river, just to try and get him to call with the king or just a chop. What he thinks is, I'm playing the board, kind of a thing. We both have 2 pair, right? Kind of a thing. But I mean, it's very fancy to do all that. But you're a fancy guy.
I did a fancy thing in this one.
Fancy Grant.
I don't know if it was good or not. We'll never know.
Well, even if he calls or folds, it doesn't mean it's good. Either way, right? Like the one discrete response one time, it doesn't tell us if it's good.
Right.
But it would give us some data. But if he folds the second nut flush, I guess it means it's probably pretty
even
good.
Under your parameters, we will never know if it's good or not. Right? Because it's all dependent on the player.
That is true. No, I'm sort of taking it back. Like if he folds the second nut flush, that means it was clearly good.
Yeah.
He folded out his entire range that he could ever have, and it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So, and if he shows you 2 flush cards and folds, I guess that's good too, because that's exactly what we were targeting, and you figured out the situation well enough to be right this time against this player, which is what you're going for. You're not going for the play against this is what I do against population. This is what I do against this guy right now is what you're doing, right? So
it's a discrete spot.
In that way, actually we would know, I guess. So I take it all back and reverse course again.
Yeah, well, either way, I just ended up making a whole thing out of nothing because he lost anyway with the king. But, I thought it was a fun, weird spot.
Yeah, agreed.
Tired of being tired of being sick. In my head 24/7, how I'm supposed to pay the rent. Missing practice, I don't play. Friday nights we on the bench, trying to come up with a play. If it don't work, then hit a lick.